Well, hey guys, welcome back to Geek Life Podcast. And my name is Scott. This is Jarrell, and this is Jeremy. And thank you guys so much for tuning in for another video. Today we wanted to talk about the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, what some of our thoughts are on it. But before we go into all that, we wanted to kind of go back to some of the movies that the Deadpool movies, so Deadpool 1 and 2, and maybe even just talk a little bit about like Wolverine and everything like that as well. So I think Wolverine's been now in how many films?
Oh,
5, 6, 7.
We can actually count it. X1, X2, X3. X-Men.
X3 was like the best one. Last Stand, right?
Oh, is that what we're going to talk about today?
And then people already turning the video off.
Well, like X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah.
What's that called? Wolverine.
Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine. The Wolverine. Logan.
Yeah.
He was in Days of Future Past. That was like the best one.
True.
Days of Future Past was like the best.
I like that.
Like, and then cameos in like Apocalypse, X-Men Apocalypse, X-Men First Class. So maybe like this is his 10th time showing.
That's crazy.
I wonder if does that
crazy.
beat Robert Downey Jr.?
Probably.
Because he was also in quite a few.
Well,
too.
no.
Like
I think
his 3 Iron Man movies, like 4 Avengers movies, Spider-Man, No Way Home, Captain. They tied. They're like 9.
Wow.
Crazy.
This is tiebreaker.
Well, again, wait, no, Incredible Hulk. He was in Incredible Hulk. The end scene credits where he talked to.
And he probably. And I wonder if did Downey Jr. voice in What If too?
No, he's too expensive for What If.
Oh, okay. Too expensive. Yeah. So talking about Wolverine first. Then he's for me he's up there as one of my favorite, if not, I'd probably say he's probably my favorite X-Men. Yeah, I can confidently say that. Like I just growing up and reading different comics, and I think, Wolverine is probably my favorite. His portrayal to this point has been really, really good. I think, even from the very first X-Men movie, I know one of the criticisms is he's too tall. I don't care really, for me anyway. But because I know he's like really, really short in the comics and stuff like that. So, and then he's like 6'2" or 6'3" in real life.
6'2".
Well, and Hugh Jackman is like for sure
huge Jackman.
Huge Jackman.
Huge Jackman is what I refer to him as. And he is like in the just newest trailer. He's still huge. Jackman.
His arms.
Yeah,
He's a sleeveless Wolverine.
Ridiculous. Yeah, so he's definitely held up. I think he's probably still. Probably the strongest of the characters going in the X-Men universe so far, going from maybe, I still like Magneto and Xavier, but I feel maybe Wolverine probably edges out just in terms of casting, and I think that he's like phenomenal and what he's kind of done overall. However, the movies that he's been a part of, I don't think it's his fault necessarily. I just feel like a lot of the films just have done poorly, or they portrayed him, and just the cast around him perhaps didn't work. But I think overall he did really, really well, and I think going all the way to Logan, Logan of course, but it kind of shows old man Logan and stuff like that. I've never actually read the comics. Did you read the comics?
Yeah. It's nothing like the comic books, but the comic books it's crazy. But this is loosely based. Though. This is a lot more like revenge theme. Like Logan, the movie was a lot more like a straightforward revenge story kind of situation. Kind of like a last man standing kind of situation, right? So
that's cool. Okay, so Jeremy, what are your thoughts on Wolverine?
Wolverine. I've always liked Wolverine as a Marvel superhero. And definitely having Hugh Jackman, huge Jackman, portraying as him. I thought he suited the role really well. I did really like X1. I thought that was a really cool introduction to the character. I thought that they brought him in pretty well, and watching the scenes or whatever, just like seeing him play with all of his roles or whatever was I really liked it. So yeah, and then moving on throughout stuff, I thought he'd be really cool. And then just hearing about getting him into his yellow leotards, the classic. Like that's finally about to happen, and it's gonna be pretty exciting.
I couldn't agree with you more. Like
we've all been wanting it for how many years?
It's hilarious, right? Because remember the first trailer,
yes,
the first movie there of the first X-Men movie was like, what are you expecting? Yellow Spanish?
Yes, totally.
Like we've been waiting for that for like 24 years.
Yep. That was so funny. So.
Like, I guess that was the time when they didn't think that would work, right? Because all the superhero movies that were doing well were like Batman, and they were like dark shades, dark colors. So they might have not wanted.
Is that why they did it? I don't know.
Like it was probably a lot easier for people to. They thought it was easier for people to digest, right? Because like even Spider-Man came out later, and even that was like a darker red.
Yeah.
It wasn't really until like Iron Man where the more yellows and the golds and the stuff started coming a little bit more brighter. I guess you can argue that this old Superman was like that, but maybe they just weren't able to replicate that because they thought that people would like darker and edgier stuff.
Maybe, yeah,
it's not
maybe
edgy enough.
Yeah.
And they like leather.
Yeah, it was leather. I mean,
that's true. It was.
Now it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which
one's your favorite movie that he put? Where he was Wolverine out of all.
Oof, that's a good question. I have to go back and try to figure that all out. I don't know. So far, like what I can remember right now, the ones that really stick out would be X1. I really enjoyed that one. Just like even just like the cage mask, match scene. I love that. I thought that was totally him. Like I'm like that's totally Wolverine. And then yeah, I'm trying to remember some of the other ones, but yeah, I definitely for sure that one. That one comes to mind right away.
Well, especially with X1, like I mean, some parts of it didn't really hold up exceedingly well, but I feel like his dynamic with Rogue, especially in the first X-Men film, was really, really good.
True, because that relationship was always very deep. Yeah,
and then it just minimized to just disappeared. I don't know whatever happened to Rogue.
Well, because then Jubilee showed up. No, I'm just kidding. That is wrong.
just the character was gone. So
yeah, that was strange.
Weird.
That's true.
What are your thoughts on Wolverine? Like, well, first of all, where's Wolverine rank for you in terms of X-Men?
Of X-Men? Yeah. Oh, he's always been one of my favorites. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Wolverine's one of my top 5 characters in comic books.
Oh, nice.
Like, easily for me.
Yeah.
Like and that's like counting Spider-Man, Superman, all the big ones, but like Wolverine's top 5 just because like he's such a cool character, and like I think that was really apparent. Like even as from X-Men, he's been a standout. He's been such a standout that they put him in Avengers books and things like that. And
true.
And like he always seemed to draw lots of people. I think that might be shifted a little bit more now, like nowadays, but he's still a big draw, I think. And he's Canadian. He's he's a hero for the short people in the comic books, at least.
Nice.
and it's just again just like a real cool dynamic of him like always wanting to control the berserker inside of him. He always was a balance of this feral
yeah, true,
to to being like a human and what that really means, right?
True.
And he's always been very brash, kind of like doesn't care what you think for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the way he was portrayed in Logan.
Oh yeah,
like I think that it was really cool to finally see him like cut people and stuff like that, because you can only see if you think about it, when you see the claws on him, he doesn't really cut as much people because he can't show that much stuff in the PG movies and stuff like, right? So it was really cool to see him like cut limbs and just go berserk rage all out. That was fun. And just like and to see. But I also really liked him too in Days of Future Past. Again, I'm probably just going off like my favorite X-Men movies in general, but like in Days of Future Past, I just like how he was able to be both characters and kind of like that travel between time situation, and how they were able to use him as a catalyst and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And in terms of his casting, I have no problems with him, even if he's not 5'3" in comic books. Like I think that they did a good job with casting Hugh Jackman. I think he does a really good job with catching the complexity of him a little bit more. like I think that maybe the comic book Wolverine's a little bit more like easier to read in terms of his like the weather on his face. I think maybe younger Jackman doesn't have that, but the Jackman now definitely has that weathered look on his face where, you know, he's been through life and that life hasn't been easy. And I think that's a big part of his character. It's just like
for sure.
having the resilience almost because of his mutant power, like how he can't die.
Right.
Like how he just kind of had to soldier on the entire time, even in times when he might have not wanted to, right?
Right.
And that's a really powerful thing for a character when you know the people that you know die, or you know in the comic books, and I think in the movie case too, where he lost his memory.
Right.
So it's not been an easy life for him.
No, not at all.
Claws and healing factor. Right? So it's just like.
Yep.
But yeah, no, good. Like I'm excited that they bring him back, that they didn't recast him.
True.
I'm excited to see
That's
who they're gonna cast if they do recast him, like, you know, for the MCU, because I'm sure that he can't do all these movies going forward.
I mean, forever, yeah.
Especially like he's in the 50s now, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So, but I'm excited that he's coming back here. I'm excited he's coming back with Deadpool, because
Yeah.
Deadpool's a good character to bring him back with.
Very
So
cool.
It's gonna be good fun. So I'm hoping that it's fun without straying to Love and Thunder territory. Or become a pastiche of itself. But it's fun where it knows it's ridiculous, but not like, you know, where it stretches itself too far. Because I think that's a good litmus test of like understanding that there is too far.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, there is a too far, reaching too far. I think Ragnarok, I know Scott might not agree with this, was just far enough where it was funny, but then Love and Thunder kind of felt like it was just too far.
It was too far,
It was
yeah.
a little bit too far.
I actually 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
No, I liked Ragnarok, but Love and Thunder was just abysmal. Next, I wanted to just talk about. So we talked about Wolverine. I actually have a book. Where is it? Right here. I just got this one. If you guys haven't checked this one, I haven't checked it. Have you ever read this book?
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite Wolverine stories.
Yeah.
Chris Claremont and Frank Miller.
Frank Miller.
Oh yeah, the Frank Miller.
So I picked that up just recently, so I'll have to check that one out. But when it comes to Deadpool, Deadpool 1 and 2, I think you watched both of them. You watched the first one so far.
Yeah.
I've watched both of them. Deadpool is probably one of the best casting, and I think when we talked about Wolverine as Huge Jacked Man, I think he did an incredible job.
Huge Jackman.
I think he did an incredible job as Wolverine, and I think that Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool was also an incredible casting. Also, there's a lot of good casting in terms of X-Men, like whether we're talking about Magneto or Charles Xavier.
Young Magneto or old Magneto? Or both?
I like both.
Same.
I like both.
Same.
Because like First Class, I thought was really well done in terms of that and stuff like that. I thought the casting was really good. I don't know if there's like pros and cons to both, but I think yeah, I don't know. I can't really say. I say it's a good even split between the two. Young Xavier though, I mean he was good. But I still prefer
Young Magneto.
Older Magneto.
Oh, older Magneto.
Sorry.
The younger Magneto, like the younger portrayed Magneto by Michael Fassbender.
So I'm talking about Xavier.
Oh, younger. You prefer
older.
I prefer older.
Oh, Pat Stewart.
Yeah.
Yes.
Patrick Stewart, yeah. Yeah. So I feel like the older Xavier is in my opinion. But regardless, Deadpool. Yeah. So Deadpool 1 and 2. I like both. Both were good. I feel like Deadpool 1 was a little bit stronger for me, in my opinion. I feel I felt like I don't know if it's maybe the nostalgia aspect of it or whatever. Again, I liked like Cable and the other characters that I liked that they Domino and then Juggernaut. Juggernaut was in it. I didn't really care much for Juggernaut. I don't know what it is. Again, if you really like the Juggernaut, whatever, it's fine. But I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan. I kind of liked the cheesier No, I didn't even like that one.
The extra version.
Yeah, maybe not extra.
I'm the Juggernaut.
I should take that back. But I kind of liked his look. I don't know, but anyway.
That's fair. That's fair. What do you? I know you watched the first one. What there's some standout moments there, or anything?
I'm trying to remember because it's been so long. When did it come out? 2015, 16,
like that,
somewhere around there.
That's 10 years ago.
Gee, almost, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
9 years ago.
That is. We are old.
Hey, and they're still going.
Yeah, and
they're still going.
Our movies back then.
That's true. Yeah, that's saying something. You're hilarious. No. I liked. I thought Ryan Reynolds played the part really, really well, and the dynamics of that movie was really unique at the time, and was really something different than we needed from out of all the Marvel and out of all the shows that we were watching. It was just it was good to see something like that, and I think that really brought his character up, and just essentially Ryan Reynolds has really taken that home, and to his personal life even, and adding new things to it. It's so fun, and just watching him and seeing the things that he's coming up with, and I like it. But I can't really remember too much about the first movie, because it's been a while. But I do remember really enjoying it and wanting to see the second one. I just don't know what ended up happening, whether it's just time or whatever. But I'll have to make sure I watch it before I watch the new one coming out in July.
This is a lot of third wall breaking, which was never really done with
that's true.
With
yes,
comic book movies, or
yeah.
Maybe Ferris Bueller.
Yeah. Great movie.
Doesn't happen to do too much, and it was really cool, and all that was it was an R-rated superhero movie.
Yes.
Besides from Blade,
yes,
that could really up the violence, up the the darker humor.
Mm-hmm.
So and it's so cool when you think about the fact that I heard he did not like the script for Wolverine Origins, but he figured that he doesn't want anyone. He really wanted to play the character.
Yeah, actually, I do remember hearing that.
And then he ended up playing the character, and then they couldn't do anything with it for a long time because that bombed. But then him and the director of the first one, Tim Miller, had done a version of it, where he was, and then they didn't. And then someone leaked it.
Oh,
This and then when they leaked it, it caught it. This was when
it got traction.
Getting traction.
Yeah,
and then it did so well that it kind of forced Fox's hand to make it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that I remember.
Well, I know that.
Wow.
I know that Ryan Reynolds did a lot of work behind the scenes to get it going.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't know who leaked it, but that's always been the joke, because they knew it was going to be successful, but Fox was still in the mind that it's hard to invest money in something like this because it's an R-rated superhero flick, and they don't know. And you think when they thought back then superhero flicks needed to be PG or PG-13 because they needed to get the kids to come in to watch, because that would be the driving force,
right.
But the fact that they were able to make it they got so much traction that people were like, yeah, this is first of all, the fans of Deadpool were like, yes, this is what the character was like.
Mm.
And now that when the exec saw it, that it really forced their hand to make that. And the fact that it ended up being such a big hit when it came out.
Yeah.
I think they kept making a reference about it being one of the highest rated movies. I'm not sure, and they kept saying whether or not it passed the Passion of the Christ or something like that. In terms of money wise,
it's second.
Yeah,
it's after the Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, something like that. And I just remember just the viral campaign to really get it going. I think that was what really stood out with him. Besides the fact that he's such a unique character already.
Yeah,
and to have that heart behind it, because someone's actually passionate about a character.
That's true.
It can be very very infectious to the people, especially when you know that they care about it, right?
Yep.
So,
and the fact that there was certain scenes in it, I think it's Deadpool 1 or 2, I can't remember, where there's the script for Green Lantern.
Oh yeah,
that's Deadpool. And that's Deadpool 2. That's Deadpool 2. That's Deadpool 2, where he goes back in time. And then he kills himself because he thinks, or he kills the X-Men Origins Wolverine version of himself, because that's the one where they stitched his mouth, so he couldn't talk. And that was one of the worst ideas, because Deadpool is known as the Merc with a mouth because of the fact that he just talks and talks and talks.
Yeah.
And I don't know who made that decision.
It was a bad decision.
Yep. you got on fire. Yeah, I mean, the fact is that he embodied the character much like huge jacked man is embodying Wolverine. And so I think, going now to this film, which we just saw the trailer of just recently, I can put down in the description the trailer to those that are interested. Yeah, I think with the trailer itself, I think it's using a lot of the stuff that we've seen from the first two films, but also now including time travel. And I can see, I think it's like the sling ring. You can see there's one part there.
There was.
They're going somewhere. They're jumping through at the very, very end. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts or ideas of where they're going, but regardless, I think that when it comes to this particular film, I think it's using a lot of the stuff. So we're going to see a lot because of the fact that Wolverine has been in so many films. Having the two of them together, because of the fact that between the two of them on social media, they always do different posts and stuff
back and forth too. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Aviator Jin, and then that's what I think Hugh Jackman has a coffee brand or something like that. I forget what it is. Yeah. So I think it's been funny because on social media they've been throwing stuff at each other.
Stuff's hilarious.
And then the fact that the first trailer that just kind of announced the fact that there was going to be one.
Yeah.
I thought was kind
of
That's true.
Trying to figure out what the story for Deadpool 3. The first one was when he was trying to figure out what Deadpool 3 was, right? Remember he was in his cabin or whatever. And then he was trying to figure out what the idea was, but they had nothing. And then he said, and then Hugh Jackman walked through the background. He's like, "Hey, you want to be in the new Deadpool movie?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, Ryan."
Okay, or something like that.
And then and I just think that it's cool. When you saw the trailer too, there's the 20th Century Fox in the background, so it looks like it's you see you can remember the 20th Century Fox sign.
Yeah,
it was in the desert, partially buried, so you can tell. They're kind of poking fun at the fact that it got absorbed into Disney.
Yeah.
And there's I'm hearing all these jokes that that people who were casting Fox movies before might be coming back as cameos. So
I mean, Rogue might be coming back.
No, but Ben Affleck as Daredevil.
No.
And then I think Jennifer Garner as Elektra.
Oh wow.
So I mean it's just I know they weren't great characters, but it's just hilarious that they'll be able to bring that back because it's the destruction of the Fox universe, and maybe that might be what they're talking about in the trailer.
Maybe,
that his universe is going to be destroyed because being taken in by Disney, right? So I think that's going to be really cool, and the fact that they can just let loose on the violence is always a fun thing because of course. It's fun to watch, right? You see them slicing each other and fighting each other and fighting bad guys and whatnot. It's just always fun, and the humor is there. Even that joke about about Kevin Feige would not allow, and then they keep making the joke calling the drug the different names.
That's right.
And then I just like how it can be very meta, and I'm just I'm hoping that I said it doesn't over exceed itself, but that could also be the draw of what Deadpool is, right? Because whereas some of them should have a limit. I'm not sure what that would look like when it comes to Deadpool, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Fair. Yep.
You can lead too heavy into that too much, and then it just becomes about that, and it just becomes just gag jokes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I think based on the trailer that I think there's going to be, even though it's obviously going to be very much a Deadpool film with a lot of Wolverine. I don't know how much Wolverine's going to be in it, but based on just watching it again with you guys was just the idea that I think it's going to be there's going to be a lot of heavy elements to it too, right? I think that it's almost meeting not just a version of Wolverine. A lot of it's going to be a lot of the impact that happens because of Logan. The film Logan, right? So I think that just based on that, so you're going to have that element, but you, of course, having Deadpool, who's just going to be making jokes and stuff like that. So it's going to be that, I feel that balance. But I think there are going to be a lot of heavy portions of the film itself. That it's not going to be all just gags and jokes and references to Disney and stuff like that, or Marvel. But also the fact is that this is kind of like the first time these two, as essentially kind of more or less sharing the screen for more than a couple minutes. And I think that it's going to be, I have high hopes for this one. I have high hopes for this one. I think it's gonna,
hopefully this is the one that brings Marvel back.
We'll get onto that in a second. What are your thoughts on the trailer?
Oh, I liked it. Yeah. I thought it was one. I thought it looked interesting. I want to, I'll watch it, but I gotta watch 2 first. I gotta go through that. So
2 actually was good.
Yeah.
I do remember enjoying watching it. I think you're right. It's not as memorable as 1 was, but lots of.
It wasn't bad.
It was good. It was good. Like even like the fact that Cable was played by Josh Brolin, who played Thanos, and Deadpool makes a joke about Thanos to Cable is freaking hilarious.
That's awesome.
Do you remember what the joke was? I can't remember.
I think it might be something to do with Infinity Stones or something like that.
Okay. Or him being purple, I imagine.
Maybe. Yeah.
Probably with him being purple. Yeah, I imagine it would be a good chunk of it.
But it was good. Again, I don't know what the right balance of that is, because didn't Wolverine die at the end of Logan?
I think so. Yeah.
So how did they bring him back for this? Is it before Logan, or?
Well, I don't know what has to do with the time thing.
He's able to go through time.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of what they're showing.
Also, kind of be like what happened in Loki, where he kind of saw how he died and then figured how to react. Because remember that episode of Loki when he went to the TVA and they showed him that he killed himself to save his brother and stuff like that, right? Yeah. So, that'd be pretty interesting. Yeah, especially because they kept saying like he let his world down and like
right. So like this one let his world down. Yeah. That's right. And he's laying on the floor.
Yeah.
So
we'll see what happens.
So I think one of the questions that comes from all of this is if Deadpool and Wolverine, and there's been a lot of discussion about this, is this enough to bring Wolverine back in people's good graces? Is it enough to bring the Marvel Cinematic Universe into better shape overall, like going forward? Like, would you say, especially in the last 2 phases of it has been more misses than hits for sure, in my opinion. But do you think that, Jeremy, I'll ask you first, do you think that this will enough to kind of, right the ship, or we can get them back on track?
I don't know. It's a very hard question, because it's like, everything that they've been doing, like you said, like it's just been lukewarm, and it's like, okay, cool, that's another one. It's another one off the list. Let's move on, right? And I'm like, but there's hope for this one. I would say with like Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman coming into like a same movie would be cool. That would essentially be the way to fix it. And I know like the image there is kind of pretty sweet. You got like the heart, the heart of both of their faces split in half, and it makes a full heart. I'm like, that's pretty funny. But no, I don't know. It would be nice if it does, but then at the same time, I'm like, are we kind of done with superhero movies? Like, there's so many. There's just so much stuff going on. Like, let's. I don't know. There's other stuff coming out that's getting good, and it's been how long?
True.
Like, when did Iron Man come out? 2002, 2005?
Probably 2005 or 6.
2005, yeah. So it's like, that's 20 years ago. That's 20 years ago. How long can we ride this gravy train? How long can we keep spending our money?
I don't know. I don't think I've heard of like superhero fatigue.
And we've talked about it.
Yeah.
We've done podcasts on it before.
Yeah. I mean, that is a possibility, but I think people really are just looking for a good film.
Yeah, for sure.
They want something
different.
I think if you have a good superhero movie that has a really good story, good characters, and there is an investment, like something that you said, there's a lot of investment from the creators of it, the writers, and they're passionate about it. I don't think the superhero genre is dead. I think that it's possible to continue going on, but not in the same way or same vein it has been going.
Right. Exactly.
Something has
Something
to
has
change
to change
the dynamics, because I think I look at like The Boys right now, super popular show, and that is a superhero show. Invincible, right? Incredibly popular. There's just people are wanting good stories. People are wanting good characterization, all of that kind of stuff. If they're able to continue doing that, adapting good other properties, I think we're going to see an influx of things like animes being translated at some point into live action. We're
seeing that in One Piece right now and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right? So
Yeah,
we're
true.
seeing
Which is good, actually.
video game adaptations like a Fallout series, which we will talk about at some point. I'm the only one of us three that has watched it so far.
watched one.
Watched the whole season, the whole series, or whole season. But yeah, so there's a lot of things that are coming out, and I think it can happen. It's just it has to be the right stories. It has to be well done, well made, good stories, and yeah, I think it can. Whether this, in my opinion, is going to change that, I don't think so. I don't think that the current ship is not going to right simply because even if this does, let's say, $3 billion, right?
Well, it'll change a ship a little bit if it makes $3 billion.
I don't like not one. It's not one. It's not one film that's going to rate the ship. No. It has to be a series of. I would see like if this is a banger, and all of a sudden the next like 3 or 4 are as well. Sure, I could see that as being a shift to going in the right direction. That they're writing the ship, but it's not going to be just based on one really successful film.
I agree. And I have bad news for you. Captain America 5 is coming. Captain America 4. Anyways.
Oh, man.
And then, yeah, sorry, Scott. The ship's not right yet.
But where do you go so wrong after Winter Soldier? And my favorite of all of the Marvel.
So, like for me, I think I agree with you. Like, it needs to be something different, because the things that we're excited about that are different. That stuff. I think superheroes are different. The Boys is different.
Yeah,
Invincible is different.
It's
Edge of the Spider-Verse is different. I loved both movies. Like,
oh yeah, those were so good.
So good. And
those
so
were
different.
so good.
And you could another situation where you can feel the writers and the animators and the whole team's passionate about the project.
True.
And we've had good, like, you know, in the last like season, or the last what is it called,
like phase.
Like, my favorite of the last phase movies is the Spider-Man movie.
Right, that was a good one.
So I mean, but like, that was one movie out of all the movies that came out during that time.
Yep.
So I mean,
the rest were like mediocre at best. Like Shang-Chi and
I didn't like Shang-Chi. I didn't like Black Panther 2.
I didn't even watch Black Panther.
and then like again, it just, if it's a step in the right direction, great. I like the fact that they're going to be introducing, like, you know, more popular characters into the thing, especially pre-established ones that have had hit movies like the X-Men and the Fantastic Four.
Yep.
I hope, but I don't think so. Again, it's hard to say, because also they're making the new Superman movie, right?
Right.
How much of that's going to be fatigue from there?
Because exactly, now they're rebooting another
Superman. Yeah, and how is it going to be different? Are we going to see Zod for a third time?
Yeah,
as the first Superman movie,
right?
Like, I think that he said that he wants to pick it up where they don't go back to Krypton again, because they kind of want to. It seems like every time Superman had to reboot, they always had to say from Krypton to send to Earth, and
that will play a big impact. Mm-hmm. I think if Superman does really, really well, it will change certain dynamics.
Yeah, but it doesn't have that strength behind it anymore, though, right? Because of the fact that, like, the equity that it built up was kind of like worn away from the Zack Snyder phase of the thing, right? So even the Justice League movie that came out, supposed to be a big draw, didn't make as much money as it should.
Yeah.
The first Aquaman movie made $1 billion. Second one, like, it didn't even make, like, it might have made like maybe 500, if not, or significantly less than the first one, at least.
Mm. Yeah.
So I feel like the fatigue is there. I don't know what it takes to fix it.
Like, there's a bit of a common theme here, though. Right. Everyone seems to be liking, you know, like the Deadpool movies, the restricted movies, The Boys, which is essentially like an art, you know, Invincible, which is right.
Yeah.
maybe what we're looking for is like an injustice. We're looking for
that's actually
the opposite.
That's a really good point.
Maybe that's what people want to see. I'm like, maybe that's where it needs to go. Maybe that's what's going to change the thing.
Either that,
I don't know,
because I feel like Marvel and a lot of DC stuff is kind of middle of the road, where they try not to be too dark or edgy or whatever it is, or they're missing out on like certain things. Like, say for example, I think a really inspiring throwback to the bright Superman, like Christopher Reeves type Superman, is something that people look and they think like, wow, like going back to the old-fashioned aspects of that character, going back to who Superman is, because he's not Batman, right? We all love Batman, but Superman is not Batman, right? So the idea is like almost the inspiring, so kind of either going to that side or going to much years like Six saying, like the R-rated, ultra violent, or like more realistic aspects of these characters, like even Gen V.
Gen V. Yeah.
But a lot of those kind of things is it's just like they're not doing the standard stuff, because I feel like Marvel's just kind of doing the same things over and over and over and over again.
And how do we define what's successful there, though? Do we define it as people who engage in watching it, or do we like the money that it makes? Is that the ultimate motivating factor?
Right.
Because like
that's true. That's a good point.
Because like then you have to think of who do they aim this at.
That's right.
We pay money to go to theaters to like to watch these movies.
Right.
Do kids really do that nowadays, or do they just like because a lot of people just watch them from their phone? Do they just wait?
Yeah, like the Netflix or whatever. Yep.
I think for me it's like cultural impact more than anything in terms of the way I look at it. Is like do people talk about it? We just did a podcast on Man of Steel, right?
Yeah.
Like that's an old film, but yet we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
So it has legs. But are people talking about Shang-Chi apart from dogging it? Right? Are people going to talk about Captain Marvel?
I don't think anybody's talking about Captain Marvel.
No, because people haven't watched. People don't care to see the watch.
Well, the Marvels, right?
Or the Marvel,
Because Captain Marvel, like made a lot of money, but also it was during the time when everything was super saturated, right? At the right when Endgame hit, right? So of course, then it had the legs of everything came before it, and Infinity War, which was a huge hit, and then riding off the wave of Black Panther, Infinity War, Captain Marvel. Of course, Captain Marvel is swept up in there, and then being the first female-led superhero movie was a big deal back then too, besides Wonder Woman. But like, it was making all that money, and then after Endgame, it just felt like the quality dropped off. Now it could be because of pandemic probably affected a lot of the planning too.
Yeah,
but
true.
It also felt like it was directionless after, like they had ideas, but they didn't have an actual But that could have been what they did back then too, though.
Roadmap.
It's just like the sequel trilogy from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right? They did the first one, which was The Force Awakens, and they didn't actually have a plan of where they were going, which is insane to me. Because they went and then they had another, so you had J.J. Abrams, right, who did the first one, and then you had
Ryan Johnson. I can feel the pain in his voice.
Who did that movie, right? Which will never speak up. And then they were like, then they had J.J. Abrams come back, but it was just like the whole thing was a mess because they didn't have a clear direction of where they were going. That's one of the biggest issues with Marvel right now is like they don't know where they're going. Like even if like I say before, if Deadpool and Wolverine does really, really well, that could be like a standalone thing. Fantastic. Good, right? But the whole rest of Marvel right now is in shambles. I kind of see it almost like the Batman. Batman was absolutely incredible. Joker, absolutely incredible. But apart from those two films, what's been a big boost to DC? Well, nothing.
And they're not in the same universe. Like these things are still getting caught up, and we need to have everything connected.
Yeah, and so is Deadpool and Wolverine going to be its own thing, right? Or is it going to be eventually part of the MCU? Or are they going to do a reset? Like those are the kind of things that.
Well, they have to because Hugh Jackman cannot play it anymore. This is it. I think this is the last one. But like, and if you think about that,
sad face emoji.
That's very true. But like again, if you think about the things that caught us and sure it was very gimmicky to bring the Spider-Mans back for Far From Home, but at the same time it worked. Like it brought the nostalgia, but it was still good enough that we were invested in it and enjoyed it, and their chemistry was very good.
It was.
It was fun.
I liked
the memes in there where they kept pointing at each other.
That was
hilarious.
awesome. Yeah.
And how much of this is going to be that, right? How much of this is going to be a nostalgia trip? And how much of it are we going to bank on it being a good movie, right? Because like Spider-Man, like the last Spider-Man, like I think the nostalgia helped the story tremendously. If the story wasn't there, then if the other three didn't come there or the previous villains didn't come there, it wouldn't have worked.
Good. Yeah.
It wouldn't have been as good.
Yeah.
How much of that is going to be for this? So I'm really glad that they were able to take advantage of that before, but what's it going to look like? We don't know. We don't know if there's going to be any cameos, but like chances are very high that there's going to be cameos.
Yeah.
But like, how much of it is going to be, just nostalgia and just be like, okay, this is how we can get more money now, and then they'll spout out like mediocre stuff. Like I would love to see where the Thunderbolts go. I mean, hopefully that ends up being pretty cool. It's a cool idea.
Right.
Having like these. Like kind of like the losers, not the losers, but like the sidekicks and like the people kind of cast aside as being put together as a team, kind of like a dysfunctional team.
Yeah.
Could be like a Guardians of the Galaxy kind of thing.
Yeah, or a better Suicide Squad.
Right.
Because like the other is so bad, guys. I watched the second one was better. The first one was so bad. I was like, they just kind of like they don't have any chemistry at all, and like and it just didn't feel good.
I think there was so much rewrites and stuff with that.
That's fair too.
If there was like a cohesive, like if it was like one vision, but they try to change things up. I heard that they tried to make it lighter, and that who knows what it would have been like the original vision for it. And I feel, well, this is something that we discussed in one of our previous podcasts, is the idea of like studio interference. Like how much is it affecting the director, so the director has their vision, and then how much of the studios are like, oh, you know what? Hey, you know what's really popular right now? We're going to inject that into the film instead.
Right.
That was Spider-Man 3 with Venom.
Yeah.
He wasn't
because Sandman and Spider-Man 3 was excellent.
Yeah.
If they focused just on the Sandman,
yeah,
I think he's a really well-crafted character. Then they decided, as you said, the Venom thing. Yeah.
It was like emotional. I remember that scene where he first got hit and then he was trying to get himself back together. Yeah. It was very, very emotional scene, and all of a sudden, like, let's throw Venom and Green Goblin Jr.
Right? Yeah. Just, what?
Was he the Hobgoblin? Is that what?
No, he was still called the Green Goblin. Yeah. It was just like, yeah. So, we're always hoping, right? We're always hoping that something catches and it's positive. But like, and it's always the stuff that kind of flies under the radar. That kind of because we're not expecting it. And I think that might be part of the appeal of things like The Boys or Invincible or Into the Spider-Verse.
True.
Coming from a different angle.
Yeah.
Rather than what we're expecting.
Yep. That's right.
But I think what you were saying is maybe we are looking for the more edgy stuff. Maybe we are looking for more like the Logan style stuff, where people are more attracted to that right now, and that's kind of where maybe that we are. And so exploring those kind of things, and you guys are more gurus when it comes to anime, but a lot of it explores a lot of deep, darker themes and a lot of more unique stories, stuff like that. And maybe that's what people are looking for. Maybe that's what we're headed, and as we're going forward. So those are our thoughts on Deadpool, Wolverine, and their new movie that's coming out. What are your thoughts? Let us know down in the comments below. I think we're going to eventually do a review podcast once the film comes out, which comes out this summer. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next podcast. Take care.
Bye.
See you later.